when you shift reality, you're not shifting it only for yourself, you're shifting it for the whole world. The whole world is changing with you. Can you imagine how powerful you are? Imagine how transcendent is every thought you have, every emotion you have, everything you do. Everything is just not just ripples from a little bit into the other, but it's the whole thing that is changing with you. Your perspective not only changes your point of view, it changes the world. And for example, this may think this is a very outrageous idea, and it looks like if you are a materialist, but good news for you and for me and for everyone is that this is quite outdated. Okay, we still use classical physics for our day-to-day life, meaning this is matter, this is a guy, and that's another guy. You're seeing a screen, and everything is apparently completely non-related to your inner experience, where you experience your thoughts, your emotions, and everything, right? But this is actually not what the science from the last century is really pointing to. For example, in the quantum field theory, and by quantum field, it is meant this space where everything appears into. So all this matter, all these atoms of your body, my body, the screen where you're seeing this, is not, when you really look closely to it, it appears as a vibration, not as matter. And this vibration is made of particles that appear at a fluctuation of a field. I'm sorry if this sounds complicated. Please go into quantum physics. You don't need to understand this. You just need to apply this. So what the scientists also have discovered in this theory is that your mind, your mood, your attitude is training, and training is resonating with this field. So what you live as a person is not only you. You have to be, by you meaning considering your body and your, or we regularly say me, it comes from this field. So if you're changing, this field is changing and everything else is changing. So there's an emotional resonance. So how you feel is the way the life goes. Think about a day that you're super stressed. It's not just that you as an isolated vessel, you feel more stressed and that's it. Can you clearly see how you affect everyone around you? Or how other stressed people affect you and change your mood? In the same way, what this is implying is that it's not just this experience that I'm as a person, I'm influencing other people. That is true at some level, but there's a deeper level where the whole thing is changing. So for example, in the many worlds theory, it is said that whenever you decide, for example, imagine you in the morning, you go around and someone splits a coffee on you, or someone tells a bad word to you, or someone tells you at work that you're not a good worker, or anything that may happen. Can you feel how you actually have different choices about how to react about that? And you may think, this doesn't matter for everyone. People think, oh, my well-being. Okay, I'm going to forgive because it's my well-being. No, you have to forgive because it's the well-being of everyone and everything. So much that in the moment, in the many worlds theory, whenever you take a different decision or a different perspective, that splits the trajectory of reality. That's where all these many worlds, it means, the parallel realities that you may have heard a lot about, and all this matrix and all these things. What the smartest scientists for a very long time, all of them believe a different version of the same theory. This one. So this, from all our brightest mind, agree that this is the thing that is closer to reality. So I'm just leaning upon that conclusion from people who are way smarter than me. They were smarter than you. So what these people believe, that's what people conclude out of the experiments, out of this mathematical calculations, is that whenever you make a decision, you split into a different reality. And you will say, okay, fine, but what is all this parallel reality mean? Sounds like scary even to see infinite versions of you around. You can go in all this sci-fi movie kind of logic, but I'm suggesting you to apply this in a real way that actually does have positive consequences in your life, and not just the life of everyone. Because from that point of view, when you shift your reality, don't expect that just your life, just your internal well-being is going to improve. No, the many worlds theory is saying, no, the moment that you improve, you're switching into a completely different reality that also exists. So you are taking decisions, but it's not just about your personal gain or your personal well-being. We're talking about the well-being of the whole world. Can you imagine how powerful your next decision of letting that bad thought or that bad reaction pass, can you see the implications that has? Can you see how you have, hopefully this, you find it a good reason why to tap a little deeper into your intent to create, just for yourself, but also for the world, a more peaceful environment. And I'm trying to explain to you how this is not just an isolated personal experience. So for example, in the network theory or epigenetics, they believe that in a network, can you see how it's a network? Imagine a network. So every point that joins different things together, that is called a node. And this is you, this is your personal life. So you're living, obviously, in a network. You need food, you need money, you need the sun, you need the breath, the air you're breathing. You need continuously, you're exchanging everything with everyone and with everything all the time. So you don't exist alone. Is that obvious? Because it's very important. Because in this framework, if you start considering yourself not just like an isolated entity that is completely independent of everything, but something that is basically just at many levels, continuously exchanging with everything. In these theories, and the people who scientifically study these relations, these networks, they conclude that there's a feedback loop. So what the node does change, it changes the rest of things. And the rest of things, of course, affect that node. But still, if you consider yourself just a node, which you're not, you are the whole network. But yes, I understand. You experience just the node. You feel like, yeah, all this, I am the quantum field and all these things. Yeah, but in the end of the day, you feel yourself like a body. You feel fear. You feel trapped. You feel like you have your problems. You have to pay the bill in the end of the month. But you need to start opening your mind to understand that you're not actually just living like an isolated being. You're in continuous interdependence with everything around you. And this is important because you have a huge power. Imagine in this network, one of these nodes decided, I'm going to be a better person today. I'm going to be nicer to yourself and to everyone else. And that's basically just chilling out, relaxing your fear-based, yeah, the world is dangerous. So, and you feel, I'm reacting to reality. This is reality. This is, you look how many horrible people, how many atrocities are happening in the world. What I'm suggesting you is to, okay, just step back just a little bit. I'm not saying don't do what you normally do. I'm saying, can you feel how powerful your shift? And instead of panicking, and instead of just being mean to people, instead of just going to the survival mode where the only thing you can think is about these goals of striving for a better future when you have more and we don't have these problems. Instead of going a bit out of that mentality and think about how you relate to the world and how the world relates to you. So you're not alone with this. You have the biggest and the most important reasons why to try just to be nicer to yourself and to everyone around you. Hopefully you see my point. So see if your mind, instead of letting your mind and your thoughts be only about you, this animal, this body, can you just let it go a little bit and just suddenly, just for a second, start de-stressing yourself. Start just getting in this feedback loop of what this material reality is. And just for a second, consider that all these quantum physicists, that all these theories about quantum mechanics, and they actually have a point. Can you trust them a little bit? And if you do, suddenly you find yourself being part of something else. And you find yourself that actually you're not really isolated. You don't need to be depressed. You're way more powerful than you could ever imagine. So to discover this and to apply this, you don't really need to start obsessing and going around discovering new information. You just need to, right now, relax. Relax out of this isolated illusion that you exist independent from the world, that you are just trapped in a body and a mind in time and space. Just for a second, just relax that. That is a made-up imagination based on thinking. So just for a second, give yourself the chance to open up to this moment. And notice how you start getting more, instead of just this illusional feedback in the inner mind, so to call it, suddenly you just notice that your mind is not disconnected from other people's mind and everything around you. And when you relax, you're already in this expansion. Everything feels more normal. You start just healing yourself. You start forgiving yourself. You start forgiving the world. You start healing. You start healing everything, not just you. Everything start. Your world has to necessarily reproduce this shift you do in perspective. So just chill a little bit. So it's not just for you as a person chilling out for 5 minutes. You're actually changing the whole universe with you. And at first, this won't make sense from your little mind. But I'm telling you, you don't have just a little mind. This little mind that you have is a part of you. You're way more than that. So what I'm suggesting you is to test that how you are interrelating with everything. And these observations are going to be difficult to do if you're just thinking all the time. So in the end of the day, to discover that this is true, like these scientists work very focused and really with the intention of finding the truth about the physics of the world we're living in. The same way with meditation, you do the same thing, but you bring it to a more holistic feel. You include the objective material world and the subjective internal world that we think they are separated. And just for a moment, you just open up to it. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to improve anything. But you certainly have to stop collapsing into this thinking and just going back to the object and train yourself to let go. That's what you do when you go back to the object in meditation. You do that long enough, then your mind shifts into a different kind of definition. And you can start seeing all these patterns that I mentioned to you through this science, through this spiritual, intuitive knowledge, if you want to call it. But this is ultimately closer to the truth. And you will see that if you observe, and I want you to test this in your personal reality. And I know you're going to say, yeah, try to be a better person, but people keep being assholes to me. And there's all these people. And I say, okay, from wherever you are, do your experiments. But this will be a lot quicker if you can develop a peaceful mind that can clearly observe and understand all these patterns of causality in your environment. And that's how all these things that I just said will really make sense, not just as a theory, not just as a nice thought, but actually as a practical reality. And that day is the day you understand you're always living the best possible day in your life, because this is the day where you can change the world. So you never think that you're not important. Never think that it doesn't matter what you think, what you feel. It does matter. Not just for you. It matters to me. And ultimately, even people don't know around you, it matters to them. So do yourself a service. Do a service to the world. And if you want to experience a world where peace and forgiveness and healing and good moments, beauty is the basic experience, you really have to let go of your personal thinking. Start opening your eyes, trying to find the truth, whether in scientific ways or whether in spiritual ways. I'm going to suggest you, the spiritual that's the one that I know. So I'm going to suggest you to meditate. Meditate until everything I just said, it not only makes intellectual sense, it makes sense in every action. In that moment, you will do the best of what you got in every moment. And I promise you that will be reflected. Like a scientist, you need to do many tests and you need to be patient to see the results. But it will certainly prove right if you are patient enough to test this with accuracy, with calmness, with clarity,